talk about being 2 times world champion. Brilliant. Let's talk about the third time. World Championships, London, England. I'm thinking about retirement. This would be a nice one to finish on. 3 gold medals. We do the triathlon, para triathlon as a disabled athlete, the swim, the bike, the run. As I'm crossing the finish line, the Italian's out in front of me. He crosses the finish line first. I get second place. The photo of me finishing is me, arms in the air, big smile as always, punch in the air in triumph, second place. And you look back on that, and my goal was to win. It was to win the gold medal for my country, for Great Britain, for myself, before retirement. Of course, that was the goal. But why was I smiling so much? Why was I so happy? Or why did I look happy? Because I realized what success means. And whether this is high performance or success or achieving, but to me, success is about being the best that you can be with no regrets. And what I mean by that is everything. Like you were just talking about the journey. I'm talking about my no regrets, about my nutrition leading up to the race, for the months of nutrition, the months of the physio, the months of the training, the swim, the bike, the run, the transition, the mindset, the yoga, the tai chi, everything as an elite athlete that I'd done was the best that I could be. I was so prepared for that race, and my swim was great. My bike was fantastic. My run was powerful. I did nothing wrong, and I went as fast as I could, and I came second. No regrets. I was the best that I could be. And that's a strong message, because we can't all win. There's only going to be one winner. But if you've got no regrets, whether that's 4th place, 5th place, 10th place, then that's it. Now then, on the reverse of this, is if you do have regrets, then shame on you. Shame on you for even entering that if you haven't pushed yourself. And I see people that do this. I saw them. They used to be at the start line and they used to be shaking their hands ready for the swim. They go, oh, I wish I'd done more swimming training. And I'm like, are you kidding me? It's too late. You can't say that now. You want to be almost, I couldn't have done any more. Reverse this to, kids that go for their exams or, in university. And they say, oh, I wish I'd revised more. You've got to be joking me, you muppet. You should have revised your heart off. You should be exhausted through revision, because now is the time. You need to be turning up at that exam, at that interview, at that talk, that meeting with the client saying, bring it on. I've done all my research. I've done all the late nights. I've done all the study. I am totally ready for this. I have got no regret. It is what it is. It will, let's see how it goes. Because if you're saying, I should have done this, I should have done that, it's too late. And that's what really grinds me. What winds me up is people that say things like that. I'm an engineer by heart, and I'm a professional speaker, which means that I rehearse, I plan, I get there early, I get everything. I look slick and smooth. It doesn't come naturally. Maybe it does a little bit, but there's a lot of time and effort to look that good, to be that good. And some people just wing it, and it doesn't work for them, and they can't work out why. And you're like, because you're not taking it seriously. You said you want this goal, you say you're going to work towards it, but you're not. You're lying to yourself, you're lying to other people, and then you're moaning about it, and that's not fair. So again, it goes back to the no regrets.
I love that. And I think a lot of people actually are lying to themselves about the goal that they want. I think most people struggle with actually identifying truly, authentically what they're doing it for. I think, I often have these conversations where it feels like so many people walk through life wearing a version of themselves that they think the world wants to see versus the one that they actually want to be. So when I'm sitting at the starting line and I'm shaking my hands and I'm like, I should have swam some more and practiced that and spent more time in the water. What I also may be doing is questioning if I'm really thinking deep enough. Why am I doing this if I'm not willing to put the work in? Why the hell am I standing here getting ready to race to expose the fact that I didn't put the work in front of everybody? That's the question that I think is more interesting to me, because that's usually they find that they're disappointed in the result, but they weren't willing to put in the work. And so often nowadays, people want the result without the work. I mean, that's everybody wants the A on the test without the work that went into getting that A.
Yeah, you're right. I without getting on a soapbox here, it's possibly social media. It's possibly those influencers out there. They look amazing. I mean, they look rich, successful, happy. And then that's what I want to do. I want to make a few videos for them to go viral and be a millionaire. And you go, Yeah, it doesn't work like that. It's worked for them, and so that is a very small percentage of successful people, and it's just getting that across. But yes, I do a lot of talks at schools, and that's what they want to do. They want to be a football player. You know, we're talking about the soccer, where they want to be an influencer, they want to be a YouTuber, and I'm like, look, good, this is great. You know, it's lovely that you've got a goal, but let's be realistic about it. What are you doing to work towards that? Have you got any videos out there at the moment? They go, no, not yet. I'm like, okay, that's not a good start. Or are you playing football at the weekend? And they go, no, I don't, you know, I don't do it. I think, well, how are you going to be a professional footballer? You're not even doing, you're 10 years old, 11 years old. You need to be living it, breathing it. It's got to be your passion. It's got to be the first thing you do when you get out of bed in the morning, even at your young age, to work towards that high level. You've got to be living and breathing it. And some people just aren't committed that way, but they want it. They want it laid on a plate, please. Thank you very much.
Yeah, my youngest son moved away 3, 4 hours away to go play for an academy at 14 years old, and he wanted to go at 13 for soccer in the States, football in the UK, and I look at the sacrifice. It's 3 years ago now. I look at the sacrifice that he made on his childhood, on the fun things that he won't ever do because he left home. The birthday that at 14 or 15 he had a birthday, and the team was going to pick up trash in the inner cities to do a fundraising thing for with their team and the first team. And so he called us and we were going to come up, and instead he goes, no, I'm going to go with the team. This is what I want to do. And I remember thinking, oh my gosh, these are special days that most children live for, most adults live for,
Mm.
and he's willing to sacrifice everything to get there. And it's fun watching your kids do it, because you also learn about what you really still need to learn. There was an injury he had, and I made a comment about, I started complaining about the field or this or that, and I was frustrated because it's my son. So you go back to like reset mode, and
Yeah.
my son goes, Dad, it's okay. I'm right where I'm supposed to be. Something I say all the time to everybody. And then he said, maybe God's just giving me some time to figure something else out, or make me hungrier for what I want, or I needed this break for the rest of my body. He had like three
Wow.
versions at 16. And I went, hmm. And now I go back and reassess how I think. And so I think the other part of sharing that story is, even though we believe what we believe, and we're on this show talking about this, and we're so strong-willed, and we're very direct about it, I guarantee you, just like I still struggle with it occasionally, and we have to make sure we reset and reassess how we can go from being that victim to being the victor, to be the person with no regrets.
Yeah, you're so true, Scott, and it's lovely to hear that story of what your son's doing. And you mentioned the word sacrifices, and I got stumped after one of my talks. I always say, any questions, and they're usually the same old questions, so they're easy to answer. But somebody said to me, said, Steve, in your amazing journey, you've achieved so much. What have been your sacrifices? And I thought, I don't know, because I'm a positive mindset. I always think about the positive. I always think about what I've achieved, and rather than all the negative stuff. And yeah, I struggled on it really, and even now I'd struggle to dig down deep. I probably buried them and kind of moved on, but it's something that I'm working on. So I had some mental health problems 2 years ago, because I wasn't admitting to how bad things were. People saying, how are you, Steve? And I say, I'm fine. How are you? I twist it around very quickly. And things were really bad in my relationship, in my business, in money, and just various things. I ended up in hospital, and I realized that for once that there was a connection between mental health and physical health. I was very fit and healthy, but because my mental health was bad, my immune system was broken down, etc. So I made a pact 2 years ago to be more open, be more authentic, speak to more people all the time. And I'm on this journey because it's very difficult when you're running your own business. You do want to look good. You do want to look fantastic. As a motivational speaker, I want to look motivating all the time, but it's not real. And people love it when you're authentic. Now, I'm not saying I go on social media and I have a pity party and I say, oh, woe is me, please send me some messages, I'm having a bad day. I won't do that. What I will do, though, is the day after, when I've pulled myself out of it and I'm working towards it, I say, yesterday was a bad day. This was happening. But what I did about it was I went and got some fresh air. I took some time out. I did some meditation. I spoke to my friends, etc., etc. I'm giving something again to help people. That's what I want to do. I just want to help people with all my experiences, whether it's from 20 years ago or from like last week. If I can turn that into a message, if I can realize what my sacrifices have been and explain why I did them so that I could achieve and succeed, and then it's up to me whether I think that was good or bad. And it's the same for the other people. They've got to consider that. What are their sacrifices? Your son at 13, 14 years old going away, that's a big sacrifice, but he's living the dream. That's a good thing. So it really is up to the individual how they convince themselves or convince others around them, and also if they get that support. And again, that comes down to your golden gang. Your golden gang, saying, yeah, you should do this, because you can see the light in your eyes shine when you talk about it. You need to go and live your dream. Go for it. I will support you. What can I do to help you? This is the best words that you can hear. So yes, sacrifices, they are there, but it's about justification as well.
So YouTube has this cool feature where they pick the next video for you, and it's right here on this screen. So I hope you enjoy this next video.